You know, a really good way to fuck up a kid? Tell them that we're living in the end times. That at any moment, at any point in time, a man could come down from the sky, collect everybody who believes in him, and then leave everybody else. This could happen tomorrow. It could happen in a million years. We never know. And then point out a bunch of really vague details about like war and unrest and climate disturbances that point to the fact that the end times are right now. Especially if your kid is autistic and really, really in tune to picking up on patterns. Definitely tell them that pretty much everything they encounter in an everyday occurrence is a sign of the end times. Chips in your debit cards, a sign of the end times. Electric vehicles, a sign of the end times. Any war, a sign of the end times. Climate change, a sign of the end times. When you are living in this mindset, it is impossible to conceptualize the future. I grew up literally believing that the end times would have to happen before I reached adulthood. I was convinced they would happen within days, all the time. So I never developed this skill of like conceptualizing and planning for my future because I was literally just assuming that the end of the world would happen first. My resting state was so anxious because I was so obsessed with this thought and making sure that I would do everything right so that if God did come down and the rapture happened, I wouldn't be left behind. So I had to constantly purify myself. I had to constantly pray. I started struggling with really intense intrusive thoughts because I knew that they were things that God didn't want me to think about. And now I am 23 years old and I'm not a Christian anymore. And I cannot conceptualize my future. I never imagined myself getting old because I genuinely didn't think that the earth would last that long. I didn't even see myself approaching adulthood because I thought that the earth was on its way out and that we would be gone before that happened. Like, that is such a toxic and terrifying thought to plant in a child's mind. I have lived in a state of constant dread, doom, and anxiety for my whole life. I genuinely don't know what it's like to not sit in that feeling all the time. It's like my comfort feeling now. And so then when I'm not anxious about something or I'm not actively thinking about when the world might be ending, I feel anxious about that because I should be. Like, scrupulosity is not something that's really talked about, but it is a serious form of OCD that I struggle with a lot. And I think a lot of the people that are still in the church don't know that it's a legitimate condition. People actively in the church struggle with scrupulosity. You can be religious and not have scrupulosity or religious OCD. I'm someone who was basically raised to develop it, and it really, really affects my life every day. I could really go in on this, but yeah, anyways, good morning.